Monks, there are some ascetics and Brahmins who hold that one part is eternal and one part is not eternal. They declare in 4 ways that the self and the world are partly eternal and partly non-eternal. And why? On what grounds do those respectable ascetics and Brahmins assert in 4 ways that the self and the world are in part eternal and in part non-eternal? What is the reason and what is the cause for their 4-fold declaration? Monks, there comes a time after a long period has passed when this world dissolves. When the world is dissolving, many beings are reborn in the realm of the Abhasara Brahmas. There they are mind-made, sustained by the rapture of meditation, self-luminous, moving through the sky, and they enjoy delightful mental attire. They remain there for a very long time. Monks, there comes a time after a long period has passed when this world reforms. When the world has formed, an empty Brahma palace appears there. Then a certain being, having exhausted their lifespan or their merit, passes away from the Abhasara Brahma realm and is reborn in that empty Brahma palace. There they are mind-made, sustained by the rapture of meditation, self-luminous, moving through the sky, and are an auspicious being of that palace. They remain there for a very long time. After he has lived there alone for some time, remorse and restlessness arise in him, thinking, it would be good if other beings also came to this realm. A stirring and agitation of mind occurs. Then, when other beings, having exhausted their lifespan or their merit, pass away from the Abhasara Brahma realm, they too are reborn in the Brahma palace. They become his companions and associates. There they are mind-made, sustained by the rapture of meditation, self-luminous, and, dwelling in that auspicious palace, they move about in the sky and remain for a very long time. Monks, the being who is born there first thinks like this: I am Brahma, the great Brahma. I rule over others. No one can rule over me. I see everything completely. Others are under my control. I am the chief of the world. I am the creator of the world. I made the world. I am the highest, the one who divides and arranges the world. I am the controller. Of those who have been born and will be born, I am the father of the world. These beings were made by me. Why? Because before I wished, may other beings come to this realm. Because of that wish in my mind, these beings came here. And the beings who are born later think like this: this respected one is Brahma, the great Brahma, the one who rules others and cannot be ruled by others, the one who sees everything, the one in control, the chief, the maker of the world, the creator of the world, the highest one, the one who arranges the world, the controller, and the father of those born in the world. We were made by this blessed Brahma. Why do we think this? because when we came here, we saw the one who was born first, and we were born after him.
Monks, the being who is born first lives for a very long time, has a very fine and excellent appearance, and has a great following. But the beings who are born later live for a shorter time, have a less excellent appearance, and do not have a big following. Monks, this can happen. A certain being falls from the Brahma world and is born as a human. When he comes to this human world, he leaves his home and becomes a monk in the teaching. After becoming a monk, he works hard to remove defilements. He trains his effort, uses it again and again, stays mindful and careful, and practices meditation well. When his mind becomes steady, he can remember some of his past lives. But he does not remember the life that was before those. Then he says, that Brahma is the great Brahma. He rules others and cannot be ruled by others. He knows things without doubt, has control, is the chief, the maker, the creator, the highest. He arranges and commands, and is the father of beings. Because that good Brahma made us, he is permanent, unchanging, eternal, and stays the same forever with other eternal things. But we, who were made by that good Brahma, are impermanent, not stable, short-lived, and after falling away from that realm, we came to this human life. Monks, this is the first reason why some ascetics and Brahmins say, one part is eternal, and one part is not eternal. They explain that one part is permanent, and another part is impermanent for this reason. Second, monks, why do some ascetics and Brahmins say that one part is eternal, and one part is not eternal, and then talk about the self and the world as partly permanent and partly impermanent? Monks, there is a certain God called the Laughing Playing One. He spends a lot of time laughing and playing. Because he spends so much time in laughter and play, his mind becomes careless and confused. Because of that confusion, that God falls away from his divine body. Monks, this is something that can be seen. A certain being falls from a divine world and is born as a human. After coming to this human life, he leaves his home and becomes a monk in the teaching. He works hard to remove defilements. He trains his effort, uses it again and again, stays careful and mindful, and practices meditation well. When his mind becomes steady, he can remember some of his past lives, but not the ones before that. His mind is in that state. Then he says, there is a certain good God who is not ruined by playing and laughter. He lives for a very long time without getting involved in laughing and playing. Because he doesn't spend time in laughter and play, his mind doesn't get confused. Since his mind is not confused, he does not fall from that divine state. He is permanent, absolute, eternal, unchanging, and remains always the same with other eternal things. But we, because we spent too much time in play and pleasure, got tired from too much laughing and playing. Our minds became confused. Because of that confusion, we fell from the divine state and became impermanent, not stable, short-lived. We came to this human life, which has the nature of death. Monks, this is the second reason why some ascetics and Brahmins say, one part is eternal and one part is not eternal. They point to some things as permanent and some as impermanent, based on this cause and sign. Third, monks, why do some ascetics and Brahmins say that one part is eternal and one part is not eternal, and then talk about the self and the world as partly permanent and partly impermanent? Monks, there is a certain God called the mind-angered one whose mind gets spoiled. He often looks at others with anger. Because he keeps looking with anger for a long time, his mind becomes polluted and upset toward them. With this spoiled, angry mind, that God loses his place among the gods and falls from that divine state. Monks, this can happen. A certain being falls from a divine world and is born here as a human. After coming to this world, he leaves his home and joins the teaching. He works hard to remove defilements, practices meditation, repeats his training again and again, stays careful and mindful, and develops good thinking. With this practice, his mind becomes calm and steady. When his mind reaches that calm, he can remember some of his past lives, but not the ones before that. Then he says, there are some good gods who do not spoil their minds. They do not look at each other with angry minds for a long time. Because they do not look with anger for a long time, their minds do not become bad toward one another. They are not worn out in body or in mind. Those gods do not fall from the divine state. They are permanent, stable, eternal, unchanging, and remain just the same as eternal things. But we, because we spoiled our minds, looked at each other with anger for a long time. Looking with anger, we made our minds bad toward one another. Because of that, we became tired in body and mind, and we fell from the divine state. So we became impermanent, unstable, short-lived, and came to this human life where beings pass away. Monks, this is the third reason why some ascetics and Brahmins say, one part is eternal and one part is not eternal. Based on this cause, they explain that part of the self and the world is permanent, and another part is impermanent. Fourth, monks, why do some ascetics and Brahmins say that one part is eternal and one part is not eternal, and then talk about the self and the world as partly permanent and partly impermanent? Monks, in this world, there is an ascetic or a Brahmin who thinks and argues carefully. He examines things and asks questions. After reasoning and testing in this way, he comes to this view and says, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body are different parts. These are impermanent, not stable, not eternal, and they change. But the mind, called mind, heart, or consciousness, is permanent,
stable, eternal, and unchanging. What is eternal stays always the same. Monks, this is the fourth reason why some ascetics and Brahmins say, one part is eternal and one part is not eternal. Based on this reason, they claim that part of the self and the world is permanent, and another part is impermanent.
Monks, there are some ascetics and Brahmins who say, one part is eternal and one part is not eternal. Using 4 reasons, they explain that part of the self and the world is permanent and part is impermanent. Monks, whoever among the ascetics and Brahmins holds this view, that one part is eternal and one part is not, and explains the self and the world as partly permanent and partly impermanent, all of them speak using these 4 reasons, or at least one of them. There are no other reasons besides these. Monks, the Tathāgata, the Blessed One, understands this well. He knows. These are the wrong views people take. This is how they decide things. These are the habits they develop. After death, they end up like this. The Tathāgata also knows higher truths beyond this, but he does not make decisions in that same wrong way. Not deciding like that, the Tathāgata has personally realized the ending of defilements. Nibbāna. Monks, knowing how feelings arise, how they end, how they are enjoyed, the danger in them, and how to escape from them, the Tathāgata does not cling to them and is freed from defilements. Monks, these teachings are deep, hard to see, and hard to understand. They are peaceful, beautiful, very subtle, and cannot be known just by arguing. They should be understood by the wise. The Tathāgata, the Blessed One, knows these truths with his own great wisdom and teaches them. Because of these teachings, people can clearly see the true qualities of the Tathāgata, and those who explain them speak well.